Hey there, all you Valley Weather Geeks. It's Eric Wilhelm here with the Tuesday edition of Weather for Weather Geeks here on September the 19th, 2017. Another day that resembled kind of the middle of summer, really, rather than the middle of September. And, we had that small chance of rain in our forecast. Good thing we did, because in a few spots, we've had a decent amount of rain today. And it's just a few spots. Initially, let me pause the animation here. This cell right around Austintown, around 5 o'clock or so, had some hard downpours in it and backed up traffic for a time along Route 11 between Austintown and Canfield. That finally bit the dust once we got into late in the 6 o'clock hour, but then to the south, roughly the same longitude, really, almost due south of where that cell was in Mahoning County, we've had some showers pop up down towards Lisbon and heading down Route 30 as well. So, there's no lightning and thunder with this, but there's occasionally some hard downpours as of 7:30 this evening. As far as rainfall amounts, now I think our radar may be overestimating this a little bit, showing an inch around Austintown. Kurt in Austintown said he had 0.4 in his rain gauge. I think that's a little more realistic than what the radar is estimating here, but still, nonetheless, certainly some hard rain. All right, let's head down to the tropics. Unfortunately, we've got to talk about this. This is a buzzsaw heading right towards Puerto Rico. This ravaged parts of the Caribbean last night, some of the small islands. Total devastation reported, even a lack of communication from Dominica, one of the islands down there. It's a small island, but people live there, and unfortunately, there's just been no communication, from what I've seen and heard anyway, from that particular island. They may have taken a direct hit from a Category 5 hurricane last night, and Puerto Rico, unfortunately, could take a direct hit from a Cat 5 tonight and into tomorrow morning as well. So the eye is clear here on the radar. There's no signs of weakening with this. This is a monster storm, and of course, for good reason, hurricane warnings are up for Puerto Rico and surrounding islands as well. This is a Category 5. Now, Maria, I should say, is not as large of a storm as Irma was at Irma's peak strength, but this is just as strong as Irma was when Irma was really peaking. You can see that kind of pinhole eye, very distinct. The stadium effect going on there in the eye wall. 175 mile per hour maximum sustained winds with gusts to 200, and as of the latest advisory, the pressure is down to 909 millibars. That is really low, and I think really rivals what Irma achieved as far as pressure. This might even be a little lower than Irma was when Irma was peaking. I'm not sure on that. I'd have to look that up, but it was close to this. That is awfully, awfully strong. And as you can see, it's heading right for the eastern end of Puerto Rico, moving to the west-northwest at 10. The official National Hurricane Center track pushes it over San Juan tonight into tomorrow morning as either a Category 5 or a very strong Category 4. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's going to be devastating no matter what the official category is. Now, this will not have the same end game as Irma. This is not going to make landfall up in southern Florida like Irma. This is going to recurve north, probably east of the Bahamas. So the Bahamas largely spared, with the exception of some of the islands on the east end of the chain. For the most part, this will not be as bad as Irma was across the Bahamas, Cuba, and Florida. Now, part of the reason that Maria is likely to take that path is some of the interactions going on in the atmosphere with this. This is Hurricane Jose off the mid-Atlantic coast here, a minimal hurricane at 75 miles per hour, Category 1. Causing rough surf and rip currents along the east coast and some rain right along the coast as well. This is moving north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Now, what we're expecting here with Jose is that this will probably weaken into a tropical storm and then eventually do kind of a loop-de-loop. And because it'll do that, it'll start kind of doing a little dance with Maria by the weekend and early next week that will have big implications on what happens along the east coast. Right now, most of the modeling favors Maria missing the eastern seaboard of the U.S., although Jose, ironically enough, could make a landfall at some point next week somewhere in the mid-Atlantic. Probably not a very strong storm, but there's all sorts of model ideas here, and the end game is yet to be determined, but it won't be the same path, certainly, as we saw with Irma a couple of weeks ago. You may have seen this earlier on today. Of course, a big tragic story down in Mexico with a very strong earthquake not far south of Mexico City. Let me actually, let's query this. This was a magnitude 7.1 earthquake, and some of the video I've seen on Twitter and on other outlets has been just amazing, of buildings swaying and buckling, even a few collapses, a lot of collapses actually, caught on video. And unfortunately, lots and lots of fatalities. I'm sure we have not seen the final number of fatalities down in central Mexico. Again, just 75-ish miles south of Mexico City. All right, let's lighten the mood a little bit here and talk about some good stuff. And that is, we're getting into fall, of course. Fall officially begins on Friday. Foliage season getting underway now. Some trees have shed quite a bit of their leaves and are showing vibrant colors, but only a particular types of trees, really. For the most part, our foliage locally is still fairly minimal as of September 19th, but that'll change, of course, as we go into late September and October. Right now, the official report from one of the sites I use showing low color from the mountains of West Virginia right up through the Laurel Highlands of Pennsylvania, up towards the Finger Lakes in New York, and then becomes moderate color up into the Adirondacks in northern New York. Also some low color in Michigan, Wisconsin, parts of Illinois. I would suspect that with the next issuance of the foliage report on Thursday, we'll probably get some yellowing on the map in parts of eastern Ohio, western PA, but as of now, we're not officially in the low category, although, again, some trees already looking pretty impressive, and our typical peak foliage around here is around mid-October, roughly from, say, the 10th or the 12th through, say, the 20th or 22nd, kind of that 10-day, right in the middle of October window. Some signs that maybe a little earlier than average this year, partly due to the weather, which, of course, has been warm and dry. Warm and dry days, cool nights, and dry weather, a recipe for a vibrant and somewhat early foliage season. We don't exactly have the cool nights going on right now. The nights are also pretty warm. But nonetheless, it may be a little earlier than usual this year. All right, our actual weather tomorrow will be similar to today, mix of sun and clouds. Could there be one of these random showers or even a thunder shower in the afternoon? That's possible. It's just a 30% chance, really. And probably the highest chances are west of Route 11 into western Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana. And then smooth sailing for the rest of the week. That, of course, is Jose above my head. And that's going to really, I've been saying, gum up the works a little bit as far as the weather pattern across the U.S. And that means the ridge is stuck where it's stuck, and that means we're going to have lots and lots of sunshine at the end of the week and into the weekend. This is our temperature forecast through early next week. Our averages are falling quickly at this time of the year, around 71, but we'll be at least a dozen above average Thursday through Tuesday. And as far as records go, not many daily records are in jeopardy. Most of them are in the 90s, although Saturday's record is 88, so we'll be within shouting distance of that. Also, by September standards, kind of humid. Corey, one of my biggest weather geek aficionados and viewers of Weather for Weather Geeks, always asking about the dew points and is not a fan of the high dew points. Not many people are, especially in September. Elevated dew points, though, retreating a little bit towards the weekend, but for the most part, this is pretty muggy for September. But there's changes finally in range, just beyond the 7-day forecast. All this muggy air across the eastern U.S. is going to get the boot. This is a powerful cold front on the weather map in 9 days, pushing across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley. It'll be kind of right here on Thursday. This is 9 days from now, so the 28th. Meaning it'll roll through that day, and that's going to change the pattern big time. And actually, the 8 to 14-day outlook, just beyond the 7-day forecast, cooler than average. We're looking for, probably a handful of days at least, with highs in the 60s to wrap up September and start October. So if you're not a fan, I've heard a lot of grumbling on Facebook about this warmth. People are ready for fall, they're ready for sweater weather and that sort of thing. We had that a few weeks ago. But certainly we're back to summertime stuff for now. But don't worry, sweater and pumpkin spice fans, the end of September and early October will be much, much more typical of the season. Thanks for checking out tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll have an update on everything tonight on 21 News at 11. Have a great Tuesday night.